Okay, so I'm gonna try to keep this short because I really don't want to be rambling on about this for too long. But unless you've been living under a rock, you know that the Iran and the US was basically over. Um, Iran had a whole bunch of requirements, and if the US could meet that, they would stop the war. So here is the 14-point draft of the Memorandum of Understanding. Hope I pronounced that correctly. So, number one, the Islamic Republic of Iran and the US, together with their allies in the current war, declare upon signing of the MOU that there will be a permanent end to war on all fronts, including the United States starting to withdraw their assets. Number two, the Islamic Republic of Iran and the United States undertake to respect each other's sovereignty and territorial integrity and refrain from interfering in each other's internal affairs. Number three, the Islamic Republic of Iran and the United States undertake to negotiate to reach the final agreement within a 60-day period. Number four, upon signing memorandum, the United States lifts the naval blockade, and within 30 days, it should be at full capacity. The Strait of Hormuz should be back to full capacity. Number five, upon signing of it, the Islamic Republic of Iran will immediately take steps to ensure the movement of merchant ships from the Persian Gulf to the Sea of Oman and vice versa is resumed within 30 days. The United States undertakes, together with its regional partners, to create a comprehensive plan agreed upon by both parties for the rehabilitation of the Iranian economy, which is going to include financing of up to $300 billion, or at least. The United States commits to end all types of sanctions that they currently have on Iran. Number eight, the Islamic Republic of Iran reiterates that it will never produce nuclear weapons. Okay. Number nine, the Islamic Republic of Iran and the United States agree that pending on the final agreement, they maintain the status quo. Iran will maintain the status quo on the nuclear program. Number 10, the United States undertakes that immediately after the signing of this memorandum of understanding and until the date of lifting of the sanctions, the United States Treasury Department will issue waivers for exports of Iranian crude oil. Number 11, the United States undertakes that in light of the progress of negotiations towards a final agreement, frozen or restricted funds of assets of Iran will be released and made fully available with an immediate availability of $12 billion upon signing, and further throughout the next month or two for the rest of the 24 odd billion or whatever it is. Number 12, the Islamic Republic of Iran and the United States agree that an implementation mechanism will be established to oversee the successful implementation of everything that is agreed upon. Number 13, following the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding and upon the receipt of assurance regarding the implementations of 4, 5, 10, and 11 of this memorandum, and the continuation of implementation of these steps, the Islamic Republic of Iran and the United States will enter the negotiations for a final agreement solely with respect to the remaining articles. 14, the final agreement approved through the binding resolution of the UN Security Council. Okay, so anything that requires overseeing from the United Nations is already very questionable for me, because say what you will, and I want to iterate that this video is not me being all pissy about the potential of a sour US-Israel relation. No, I am all for America stop sending Israel aid at all. Completely stop. If they want to hold trade agreements in place, of course, that's normal to do. Everyone has trade agreements. But stop this idea of aid. And in turn, Israel must stop relying on the US to, I don't want to say do their bidding, but support them in doing their bidding, and always act like the US has their back in a military way. No, it doesn't have to be like this. Israel has to go fully independent. I'm seeing steps towards that. The military budget this year for Israel has increased from $32 billion to $46 billion. They're increasing military innovation and development. They're also building their own military industrial complex. This is good, but we have to stop acting not only in the interests of just America, but we also have to stop acting like America is this big brother who will always look after us. No, that has to go. So I'm saying that to iterate that I do not like this reliance that Israel believes it has on the United States. It should end. That relationship should end. That's my opinion. I know there's a lot of people who will say Israel can't survive, blah, blah, blah. Time will tell. But that relationship has to end. We can no longer rely on the US, number one, because we've seen it's dangerous. In the words of Henry Kissinger, it is painful to be an enemy of the United States, but it is even more dangerous to be a friend, or it's destructive to be a friend. Stop that, okay? So that's what I want to say. But something that I found interesting here is, let's look at how North Korea became a nuclear armed country. Okay, so the Soviet origins and foundation. So North Korea had nuclear ambitions in the 50s and the 60s, and they were working with Moscow to try establish that. They established the Yongbyon Nuclear Scientific Research Center and built a research reactor, which became operational in 1965. The drive for autonomy. Following the 1962 Cuban Missile Crisis, North Korea grew concerned that foreign allies might abandon them. Fair point, very fair point. Accelerating the push to develop an independent strategic deterrence. Independent pursuit and plutonium production, which was in the 70s and the 80s. This was all while China and the Soviet Union were actually refusing to help them. They essentially started doing it domestically. Now, diplomatic crisis and treaties withdrawal. So between the 1990s and the 2000s, North Korea actually signed an agreement with the US that they will stop all further uranium enrichment and only do it for the use of research purposes. And this would be overseen, guess by who? The International Atomic Energy Agency. That went wonderfully with Iran, didn't it? This agreement, this agreed framework would essentially force North Korea to stop all production of uranium. Oh, but then guess what? Secretly, the oversight of the IAEA, which is the International Atomic Energy Agency, they secretly were enriching uranium. This organization, the IAEA, they're freaking incredible with their ability to just completely miss the fact that uranium is being enriched. So the US got angry. Basically, North Korea completely withdrew from the agreement in 2003. And in October 2006, they successfully tested their first nuclear weapon. Boom. And now we have a wonderful lunatic who thankfully has kept to himself, because I think he enjoys his power in his country. But we have a lunatic who has nuclear arms. And the problem is, if he starts causing trouble, who's going to stand up to him? He basically has immunity. What's the US going to do? Attack him? No. He'll just fire a nuke to South Korea, a nuke to Taiwan, a nuke to Japan, and game over. World War III, nuclear winter. Bro. And what's interesting is the United States did not pay to build the nuclear program. However, to get North Korea to agree to stop producing uranium, the US and South Korea and Japan agreed to supply North Korea with 500,000 metric ton of heavy fuel oil annually for civilian energy use. They basically paid them to stop enriching uranium. And who does this sound like today? Exactly. This is my whole problem with it. Iran is literally getting paid to stop producing, enriching uranium. Anyone will take 300 billion to stop enriching uranium, because they just have to lay low for a few years, build up their weapons again, etc. And in a few years, when everything is settled, they can start enriching uranium secretly again, because the wonderful organization, the Atomic Organization, is definitely going to be there supervising everything and definitely not miss that they're doing it secretly. And boom, before you know it, America would have paid for Iranian nukes. And already, America has proven that Iran basically has complete immunity. They can do whatever they want. And now we're going to have a state in a few years' time that are nuclear armed and have ambitions, unlike North Korea, for a war between the Islamic world and the rest of the world. I want to end this video off by showing you guys a very interesting clip here by Marco Rubio, who said this in 2015. Just watch this.
Tennessee would like to close on this matter. I think everything that needs to be said about the details of this deal have already been said.
Now remember, this was 2015. Just listen to how much of this seems like it's reality.
I do want to be recorded for history's purposes, before I know what is going to happen in regards to this if it goes through. Iran will immediately use the money that it's receiving in sanctions relief to begin to build up its conventional capabilities. It will establish the most dominant military power in the region outside of the United States.
By the way, this is in response to the Obama deal, number one. Number two, to this day, even today, Marco Rubio is opposed to the new Trump deal, and Trump literally threatened to fire him if he doesn't basically shut up.
United States, and it will raise the price of us operating in the region. They're going to build anti-access capabilities, rockets capable of destroying our aircraft carriers and ships. Continue to build these swift boats that are able to come on us, these fast boats that are able to swarm our naval assets. And they'll make it harder and harder for U.S. troops to be in the region. They'll also work with other terrorist groups in the region to target American servicemen and women. And they may or may not deny that they're involved, but they will target us and raise the price of our presence in the Middle East.
You know what's crazy? These middle between 2010 and 2020 were people were making crazy predictions that basically came true. I remember a leader from the UAE. He basically warned Europe. I still remember in the clip. I forgot his name now, but he said he will say it in English despite the translators, so that the paparazzi or the journalists don't, number one, confuse or manipulate his words. And he literally warned Europe that they think they understand Islam, but that they don't actually understand radical Islam and what it does to countries and how it tries to basically take over countries wherever they go. And he warned that the Europe foreign policy has to change with that. And of course, the geniuses who lead Europe did not listen to him. And look what's happening today.
Until they hope to completely pull us out of that region. They'll also continue to build long-range missiles. Missiles capable of reaching the United States. Those are not affected by this deal. And they'll continue to build them as they've been doing. And then at some point in the near future, when the time is right, they will build a nuclear weapon. And they will do so because at that point they will know that they have become immune, that we will no longer be able to strike their nuclear program because the price of doing so will be too high. This is not just a work of imagination, it exists in the world today. It's called North Korea, where a lunatic possesses dozens of nuclear weapons and a long-range rocket that can already reach the United States. And we cannot do anything about it. An attack on North Korea today would result in an attack on Tokyo, or Seoul, or Guam, or Hawaii, or California. And so the world must now live with a lunatic in possession of nuclear weapons. And this is the goal Iran has as well, to reach a point where they become immune to any sort of credible military threat because the price of a military strike would be too high. And then they become an established nuclear weapons power. And never in the history of the world has such a regime ever possessed weapons so capable of destruction. Iran is led by a supreme leader who is a radical Shia cleric with an apocalyptic vision of the...
And despite what Trump said about how this new regime is so much better and so much more understanding and willing to change, bro, it's his son. It's Ayatollah Khomeini's son. Nothing's going to change. It's the exact same thing. Just some people say he's even worse. He's just probably gay.
The future. He is not a traditional geopolitical actor who makes decisions on the basis of borders or simply history, or because of ambitions. He has an religious apocalyptic vision of the future, one that calls for triggering a conflict between...
War of conquest. It's literally in the Quran. There's two types of waging war in order to increase Islam across the world. It's the war of conquest, or basically war of, I can't remember the exact term, but basically of immigration.
Between the non-Muslim world and the Muslim world, one that he feels especially obligated to trigger. And he's going to possess nuclear weapons. This is the world that we are on the verge of leaving our children to inherit. And perhaps we ourselves will have to share in it. And so I want to be recorded for history's purposes, if nothing else, to say that those of us who opposed this deal understood where it would lead. And we are making a terrible mistake. And I fear that passage of this deal will make it even harder for us to prevent it.
And he's standing to his guns. He'll probably go down as being correct. I hope not, because no one wants an Iran that is nuclear armed. But look at how things are going. And unlike Trump, he stuck to his gun. Which, by the way, Trump was opposed to the whole Obama deal, and now he just doubled it and gave it to Iran. Like, what is going on?
I hope that there's still time to change minds, but here's the good news. Iran may have a supreme leader, but America does not. In this nation, we have a republic, and soon we will have new leaders, perhaps in this chamber, but also in the executive branch. And I pray that on their first day in office, they will reverse and reimpose the sanctions and back them up with a credible threat of military force.